Hey, welcome to It Came From GenX. I am Keith Porter, alongside Brian Fisher, Michael Skinner, and man, what an evening we are having. Welcome to the show. Hope you guys all enjoy it. This is the show about life through the eyes of Gen Xers, looking at the similarities, the dichotomy between us and millennials and Gen Zers and even baby boomers. But anyway, welcome to the show, co-host Mike Skinner. What's up, Skin?
Good evening. Welcome to the show. Glad you made it.
And we are way past your bedtime.
We are way past the bedtime, but that's all right.
Oh my gosh, what a mess!
Our patience was tried to the utmost of try to get Keith into this app here this evening here to record the show.
It's a good thing I don't have much hair because I was pulling it. What hair I do have.
Look. Hey.
Yep.
I don't know what to say. Anyway, we're here. We got stuff to talk about. We got stuff to complain about. We got stuff to cheer about. And before we do that, Fish, tell them where they can find the show.
All right. You might be listening to us on WMBU.org, Global Internet Radio, Mondays from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. Just pull up WMBU.org on your browser or phone and hit the play button. And you hear a live stream of the show. Well, it's not a live stream, but it's a stream of the show that we're recording right now. But you get it. They also have other music content and everything else on that network radio station. You might be listening to us whenever you want to on your favorite podcast platforms. Listen to us on demand for free on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breaker, and more. Facebook, find show information there at It Came From GenX. We also put links to all the shows on the Facebook page. Our YouTube channel, where all the video portions or video versions of the show are held. It Came From GenX, all one word. Email the show, It Came From GenX330 at gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Comments, questions, complaints, whatever. Instagram, It Came From _GenX. Twitter, It Came From GenX It Came From GenX on Twitter, forgive me, and TikTok at It Came From GenX 330. All this information packaged up nice and neat for you on our Linktree account. Linktree, It Came From GenX. Just search that. It'll come up for you. Our landing page, all the links to all the stuff I just mentioned are there. Linktree, It Came From GenX. And we're going to have a website here very, very soon. We're in the process of getting that set up for you. So once we have that set up, it should be by the time we do the show again. And then we'll share that address. And then all the stuff I just said will all be right there on our website. You can link to everything there. And we won't have to repeat all of the other addresses and things where you can find us. But in the meantime, like I said, Linktree, our Facebook page, all the stuff's there. Like us, subscribe, share if you like our stuff. If you listen to us on podcasts, on Apple Podcasts, rate and review the show, helps others find us. We appreciate your support.
Yes, we do. And Fish is rocking the classic C for the once Cleveland Indians, so we'll be talking about that.
That's
and
right.
The T-shirt is excellent. I was thinking it could be Zorro. It could be the guy from the Tabasco sauce, but I believe it's Doc Holliday.
That's exactly right. It says, I got it for the pandemic. It says, forgive me if I don't shake hands.
Love it. Excellent.
Yes, indeed. Yes.
And Skinner wearing an awesome purple. Throwback to the Purple Man himself, the only man that can wear high heels, tight pants, poofed up hair, makeup, eyeliner, and still your woman. Purple Rain.
And still won't make it to 5'6".
No, he won't do that. Well, anyway, guys, a lot of crazy stuff to talk about. And again, we've had a crazy evening here. Kind of putting this show together, but we do have some interesting topics. So, Skinner, why don't you open us up with a little bit of, tell us, how was your week, first of all?
Week's been crazy. As you know, you were here the other night. We are preparing for a wedding on Sunday with my stepdaughter.
Yes, we are.
And it's been total chaos here trying to get the backyard and house prepared for guests to arrive on Sunday. But we're almost there. I took today and tomorrow off for my day job so I can get things finished up. But
so what are you pissing and moaning about being up late for then?
Well, my bedtime is always at 9 o'clock. I
Well,
don't know
suck it
whether
up,
I'm working or
Grandpa.
not.
Well, I got a surprise for you Sunday. For those of you who don't know, I will be marrying Skinner and Marcy's kid. Looking forward to that. I'm going to look a little bit different, so just got to give you a fair warning, but it's going to be a great day.
Yep, we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, all right. Fish, how was your week, brother?
Very nice. Last week, again, nice getaway, as I mentioned. We talked about that, I think, already last Thursday. So, but yeah, just a crazy week so far. Looking forward to a nice weekend. Tomorrow's a nice Beatles tribute band downtown Akron. We're going to check that out and just hang out, enjoy the nice forecasted weather this weekend.
That's a good idea. That sounds like a good idea. If I like the Beatles, I would go. It still might be worth going, though. Just for the atmosphere. I had a tough week. It started off lonelier than a white guy playing hide and seek with a Kardashian, but it got a little better. I did meet a lovely nurse in Barberton, by the name of Carla. So looking forward to meeting her for coffee. So it'll pick up. Yeah. So let's get cooking. Skinner, what you got for us?
Was she giving like a rectal or something? Is that what's the?
Well, that's how it started. No.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Okay. We don't need to go into the Kalana
She's like,
story again.
I've never had any patient I could not get the rectal thermometer.
Oh my God! Don't resurrect this.
Just can't get anything in there.
Stop. No, I've never seen her at the hospital or anything. I can't escape it. Can't escape it.
Yep. My man, you will never escape it.
Is that grounds to date somebody? If it was, I'd be like,
sure. Well, like you said, you
she
told
know
the
which
one lady,
ways I'm swinging. That's for sure.
You told the one lady that was,
yeah. Our first question is going to be: was she able to perform the rectal exam properly,
or a cleanse?
For those of you just listening to the show, it really is a classy show. Forgive my co-host here. Skinner, what do you got?
Well, there are two things going on around the world right now. One of them happens to be the Olympics, which we'll talk about a little bit here with your sports report. And the other one happens to be the COVID-19 variant, Delta variant, which has been talked about in exhaustion. So I figured, well, let's change it up a little bit and let's talk about something near and dear to my heart, as well as everybody else here in Northeast Ohio and around the country, the Cleveland Indians. As of a date to be determined in 2022 will no longer be called the Cleveland Indians. They have announced as of July 23rd that their new name will be the Cleveland Guardians. Lots of controversy about it. Old schoolers like myself is pretty upset about it. Knowing where the Indians came from back in 1915 when they were named.
Wow.
They were named the Cleveland Indians in respect to a baseball player who happened to be a Native Indian, who was a professional baseball player for the Cleveland baseball team. So I don't understand why they changed it, other than pressure from very few around here in Ohio. There's been talk. I've had other individuals that have asked me about it, and they've talked to other Native Americans. They have no issue with Cleveland Indians. They had an issue with Chief Wahoo, and they did the right thing by cleaning that up. But they do not have any issue with the Cleveland Indians name. It's the other names that are out there that they tend to have problems with. The no-name team from Washington, D.C., they got rid of that name, which truthfully was in poor taste. But at the end of the day, it's a mascot for myself thinking it's a mascot for a sports team. There's no disrespect involved in that. At least that's not its intent, especially when these teams are as old as what Cleveland Indians is, which is 1915. And I don't recall when Washington Redskins, how long they've been around, but I know it's been several years. So wanted to get your guys' thought on that. Like I said, I'm pretty upset about the name change, but I'm just a Cleveland Indians fan. I've got Chief Wahoo on my permanently tattooed on my body, so they'll always be the Indians to me. But it is what it is. It
All right,
won't make
Fish,
me
you got the
stop
C hat
watching
on. Take it
baseball.
away.
I mean, at the end of the day, for me, I don't care, to be honest with you. I mean, it's just a baseball team. I mean, at the end of the day, it's sports, it's entertainment. There's going to be definitely people on both sides. Some people are the quote unquote purists that in their minds, perhaps the name is not offensive to them, but they're also not necessarily maybe a Native American or some people certainly are Native Americans and are proud to be called Indians, and they're fine with the term. Some people are not. You're not going to. Here's the thing, okay? You are not going to please everybody with anything, no matter what you do. But when you get into talking about a mascot name that is about a race of people, at the end of the day, right? You're going down a slippery slope, and the name. And I agree with you. The name was not, certainly no one was thinking, let's create a name where we're purposely going to offend people, and that is our intention here. Certainly not. Okay, I agree 100%. It was the first Native American to play professional baseball, right? Or he's one of the first anyway.
Correct.
Okay, so they named a team after
And the
him.
last too, but
Maybe, but to honor him. So again, so definitely no disrespect to the way that name. However, the term Indians is not the nicest necessarily term in itself. I read this a little bit. Again, are some people not offended it, or some people whatever? But I just what I've looked at. Some prefer Native Americans, some prefer American Indians. They don't necessarily like. Again, this is just an article I read. There's 1,000 opinions. I get it. But just the term Indian on its own is a bit more offensive in what I looked at than American Indian or Native American. That's it. So, and then there's actually a very good write-up by Terry Pluto, local sports writer, wrote for the Akron Beacon Journal for many years. Now he's writing for the Plain Dealer. And he gave additional background on all this stuff. And what he explained, too, is the second they got rid of Chief Wahoo, now all of a sudden you have no logo. You have the block C, and that's not going to. It's a letter. So the way the president of the team was explaining is you got three things. You got the name, you got the primary letter logo, whatever that is, and then you got an extra logo to sell merchandise and have on your uniform, stuff like that. The second that Cleveland dropped the Chief Wahoo, they had no other option. So you're trying to sell merchandise, you're trying to do all this stuff with just the C. It's not catching. It's not working. You should have changed the name right there if you're going to drop Chief Wahoo to begin with. And now they got themselves a mess. They took their time, though. They came up with this name. So, as we know, it's named after in the Cleveland area. Not many people know this, but there's some, local statues on a bridge. The guardians of traffic, they're called, which are meant to be looking over the city. These things are huge. They were built in 1932. And if you're from the Cleveland area, you know what these things are. You see them, and they are pretty massive. It is a sight to see. I thought they named
after the Guardians of the Galaxy. Okay, I didn't know
that.
Right.
Maybe. So that's what they're named after. The whole idea was, they're named after, they're watching over the city, they're protecting the city, pride in the city, and all that stuff. So, is it the best name for me? Not necessarily. I like the Spiders personally. They had a tie to an actual baseball team in Cleveland years ago. I thought they could have done a lot of fun things with the merchandise. See, I don't know. So again, for me, at the end of the day, it's just entertainment. So just everybody relax and move on. That's my opinion. Keith, what do you think?
All right. Interesting point of view. So I'm going to try to bring a whole different perspective here. Skinner used the term old school. You used the term purist. I'm going to use the term traditionalist.
Sure.
Traditionalists, I can see their point. Those that have grown up with that name from childhood, the real diehard Indian fans who don't see any harm in it. Some may be like Skinner and say, yeah, I get the idea about Wahoo. The caricature was maybe overblown, overdone, and offensive.
Mm-hmm.
I get that part. But this name is, Indians are a group of people. Okay, so how is it offensive? But then you made a good point too. To some, it is. So think about this. Let's call the Cleveland Cavaliers the Cleveland Negroes.
Mm-hmm.
Is Negro a bad word? That's what pretty much they are. But that ain't going to fly, is it?
Mm-hmm.
So I can see people's point of view about that. Just even naming a group, a race of people like that, nowadays just seems to bother people. I don't know why. The other point of view I want to say is this, and this is to you traditionalists that, hey, I grew up with the Indians and blah, 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 and Skinner's got them tattooed across his nipples or something. I don't know.
No.
I'm going to say this. In the words of Janet Jackson, what have they done for you lately?
Oh, boy. Yeah.
So I would probably welcome a change, Maybe this will open up a new era. Cleveland Indians, that name, the stigma, even to players in the league was kind of a joke, Going there was kind of a death sentence. So maybe this will help spark a change. It's going to take more than a name change, but you never know. Something has to start it. That's just my thought. In the end run, I really don't care myself. I can see why they did it. I can see if they kept it, but I think that they did at least keep it tied to the city. I think that was the smartest thing, whether it was Spider or Guardian. The logo itself, it looks like they had a high school artist do it. I think they could have done much better with that.
You mean the G's?
Yeah.
On the baseball?
That looks terrible. But other than that, God bless them. I believe their heart was in the right place.
I mean, they'll infuse their. I mean, for a little bit, they're going to sell new merchandise, and there's definitely going to be people that's going to buy the new merchandise. There's going to be other people that's going to keep buying Indian stuff in part to, I'm going to show them I'm going to wear the Indian stuff, and or they think it's going to listen. They're going to sell it to the end of time. Okay.
Yeah.
Just like
Chief Indian stuff will be worth after a while, though.
Maybe. I don't know, but you'll be able to buy it at least in this area, because if they don't sell it, they lose the license to it. That's why if you want to buy a Chief Wahoo hat, you can buy a Chief Wahoo hat at least in this area.
Right.
That will be there. You can still buy the stuff, and if the extra income allows them to potentially sign a player or two and make another run at something before this other window runs out very soon.
And I want to be fair. I'm not the biggest baseball guy in the world. Mm-hmm. So, I want to be fair to people like Skinner. I mean, that's a hard thing to go through. Like, your whole name gets changed. Like, what? I mean, you feel like, who are we? You know what I'm saying? So I get that part.
Sure.
So,
yeah, I get it. I mean, it was like when Cleveland moved there for a minute and the Browns became the Ravens, and that's still weird,
Yeah. I think if my Steelers changed their name, I'd be like, what? I would be a mess, man. So I want to be fair about that.
Yeah. Anyway, Skinner, what else you got? Anything else? Any other thoughts on that subject?
No, I appreciate your guys' opinions. I know there are a lot of folks out there like me that are pretty, at the end of the day, it is just a baseball team. It is entertainment, but I've grown up from a little boy playing baseball, and
don't say it's just a baseball team. Our sports teams are part of us, man.
Yeah,
for those of us that understand it and get it, they're not just a team. Yeah,
I'm not going to lose sleep over it, but I want to go to the Jacobs Field and watch the Cleveland Indians play. Now it's going to be I'm going to the Progressive Field to watch the Guardians play. It's not the same, but it is what it is.
On that note, too, by the way, it's like I guarantee. Now, there's certainly people that are avid fans that probably go to tons of games. They watch them all the time. I get it. I also guarantee there's probably plenty of people who's complaining that probably has no idea when they went to a ball game the last time and spent money to actually support the team, that they're griping about the name change. So if you're one of those people out there, in my opinion, you don't have much of a say in anything if you haven't been going up there and spending money and try to help the team. The attendance up, obviously with whatever, but the attendance up there has been amongst the lowest in the league. Now it's not cheap to go to a game either. I get that too, but still.
Well,
so if you're not supporting the
lowest
team,
in the league of their winning percentages.
Yeah.
Well, I think they had some good playoff runs, but they just can't get over that hump, man. I tell
2016.
Can't get over that hump, I tell you, man.
2016, that was our shot.
Yeah, 3 games up, man, and blew it.
Yep.
Could have done it in the same year as the Cavs. Would have been the most epic sports year in Cleveland history.
Yep. But
no, blew it.
The universe had to give it to the Cubs.
Yeah, like Jose Mesa's kid was playing for him or something. I don't know. Yep. All right, Skinner. Appreciate it, my man. Fish, what do you got for us in the world of pop culture?
All right, pop culture. Well, last week, if you guys listen to the show, we did not have any deaths which was a good thing. We did remember Robin Williams. It would have been his 70th birthday last week. This week we did have a death that not as a well-known in our generation necessarily. Comedian Jackie Mason passed away at age 93. So, but he was a very well-known Jewish comedian in his day. Now, he was certainly more popular in the 60s and 70s. He did do some stuff that let's see here. He did have a TV show late 80s, Chicken Soup.
Yeah, he married a Catholic girl, I believe. He was Jewish and married a Catholic girl.
Okay, there you go.
And that was the whole premise of if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, on that show, you're right, Chicken Soup. That's right. Yes. He did have a brief show, the Jackie Mason show in the early 90s, which is sort of like a politically correct type show. So he sort of set the tone for those type of shows. And he had some cameos and things like that. But he kind of was big on the circuit in the 70s with the talk shows like Merv Griffin and Ed Sullivan and those type of Joey Bishop, stuff like that. So it was pretty well known. A couple movie clips and all that. So I knew who he was. He was also, by the way, he had infamy a little bit in my mind too. One of the worst sequels of any movie in history. Oh yes. that part was offered to Rodney Dangerfield and he turned it down, and Jackie Mason came in. Not his fault, but just one of the worst movies of all time, let alone the worst sequels of all time.
Especially because the original was so funny.
Oh my gosh, everyone should have their paycheck revoked from that movie. But anyhow. So anyways, are you guys familiar at all with Jackie Mason? Yes, no, not really. What are your thoughts on Jackie Mason, Skinner?
I just looked him up. I do recognize him. And recognized all his roles. But if you were to say, hey, what did Jackie Mason do?
Yeah.
The only one that would come to mind is Caddyshack 2, which is the most, like you said, the most awful movie of all time, and it's the worst sequel, I think. Because you go from such a great movie, Caddyshack the original, to that debacle, and unfortunately, his name's tied to that. But like you said, not his fault. Yeah, rest in peace. His name is interesting. I wonder how he got Jackie Mason, because I was just looking up. His name is Yakov. Forgive me if I spell his or pronounce his full name. Yakov Moshe Hakohen Masa.
Yeah, I know why he got Jackie Mason.
How he got Jackie Mason from that, I would love to know. But
it's some loose variation of that name to make it easier to say.
That's a stage name. Yeah. It rolls off the tongue, Jackie Mason.
I wasn't a Simpsons fan, but I do know his voiceover in Simpsons, and he won an Emmy for that.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yeah. So I've seen his stuff. Like I said, if you tell me what he's done, I'd have to look it up because he was not as well known to the common person like you and I, but he certainly has done some great things in Hollywood. So like I said, rest in peace, Yakov.
Don't say that again. Okay.
Keith, anything on Jackie Mason?
I've known of Jackie Mason since I was a kid. Always liked Jackie Mason. I remember the chicken soup show. I thought it was kind of funny, but what did I know? I was a kid. Well, I remember him most for the History of the World role.
Yeah,
he was in The Jerk.
Yeah.
So other than that, he just he was always doing little cameos mostly. But I've always liked Jackie Mason. I thought he was an interesting, funny character, with the accent and everything.
Yeah, if I remember, I don't know this for sure, but remember the old Pink Panther Ant and the Aardvark cartoon?
Yeah.
I think the guy is doing basically a Jackie Mason impression for the Aardvark.
Sounds like it, don't it? Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. It's got to be an influence at the very least. So.
Yeah. Well, rest in peace, Yakov.
Yes, absolutely. Okay.
Don't call me dude.
Yeah. Don't call me Yakov.
Never call me dude.
Yeah. So, Keith, did you see Black Widow, Keith?
I did, sir.
Okay, so I know Skinner and I watched it because we watched it in my backyard this weekend, and we said I had a nice little sit-in movie with a cigar and a drink, and that was actually a nice evening. So
it sure was.
Yeah,
I
Keith
came
was
over
invited,
and somebody stopped me in the driveway and gave me a net. And they said, "When you're done cleaning the pool, we got some leaves on the side." So I just left.
That's right. For the record, Keith was invited, and he was not able to make it, so he was invited to come over. So we all saw Black Widow. So what did you guys think of Black Widow? Let me start with you this time, Keith.
A little disappointed.
Okay.
The fighting action was great.
Mm-hmm.
When I watched Black Widow fight in all the Avengers movies, the Iron Man, she was so superior, fighting wise. In this movie, she seems average. She's the other girl, especially the one that was the what's her name that imitates everybody. Can imitate any fighter that she sees, but I thought she was much, much better. And I thought some of the other Black Widow scenes, her sister included, just as good, if not better. It kind of brought her down to earth. I always looked up at her as this unbelievable superior fighter. And I didn't get that out of this movie. I thought there would be a lot more, high-tech stuff in it. It was a little average for me. So I was a little disappointed, to be honest with you. Now, I was kind of tired when I watched it, and I told my sister that, and she said, "You need to watch it again." And I'm going to do that, to be fair, and I'll come back if my opinion changes. But first glance, I was really kind of bored.
Okay. All right. Skinner, what did you think?
We talked about it afterward. It wasn't what I expected, that's for sure. I expected a lot of fight scenes, and we expected a little bit of background, which we got from moving from Ohio to where she was trained and all that. A
little shout out to Ohio. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
It was a real good. It was nice. Her sister, that I think her name was it Yelena? No. Oh yeah,
I think that's
Yelena.
Right.
Thought her sister, like Keith said, was a better fighter. Some of the stuff that she did was pretty remarkable. So it did bring Black Widow down off the pedestal, I think, that we all put her on from all the movies that she's done or have been in. It was kind of confusing at times, especially because you had the timeline. We even talked about that after the movie. The timeline kind of went back and forth a little bit. So you had to remember, wait a minute. Okay, so this takes place when? And I think that's where everybody kind of fell short. I know that's where I fell short of thinking it was one of the blockbusters that it could have been.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. For me, I liked it. I thought it was pretty entertaining. I liked Yelena, her sister. So I liked the dynamic between the two of them. I liked the banter, as with like the sisterly type banter they had. I like Yelena, like even pointing out, like, why do you do all the poses with your head when you land and you fight?
That was such a great line.
Yeah, and then she caught herself doing it. She's just like,
best line of the movie.
Yeah, that was good. I liked David Harbour, the actor Alexei, as was a Red Guardian.
Mhm.
I thought
Yeah.
that was pretty cool. I liked the fact that he was a lot out of shape and he could barely get into the suit and stuff like that. That felt kind of real and
Yeah.
everything. So I don't know. I mean, like you said, the timeline was a little confusing. It was between Civil War and the Avengers Infinity War, right?
And I appreciate how they tied it together at the end
Yes.
and kind of let us know she got into a Quinjet and headed to
Yep.
the the prison that's in the middle of the river or the ocean. So
Yeah.
that was kind of cool. That got tied together.
I thought the action was good. I thought the fighting was good.
Mhm.
I don't know. I guess I liked it a little better than you guys.
I'm going to give it another shot.
Yeah.
To be fair, I hate when I sit up and watch a movie late and I start nodding.
Yeah.
So that's not a fair assessment. So we'll see.
And then let's see, Rachel Wise as Melina. I liked her character as well. So just I don't know. I like I said, will they do more prequels? I'm not sure, but they definitely for 100% introduce Yelena into the universe, and they tie it to the new Hawkeye series that's coming up here at the end of the year. So that's going to be interesting. And
we just waited so long for Black Widow. I was just expecting a lot more, you know?
Yeah, and then I also had to remember, Skinner, I had to talk through it too when Julia Louis-Dreyfus appeared at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, that was that was going to be her first appearance. You kind of forgot that until she made a reappearance on the Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, good movie, entertaining, worth a watch, I think. I don't know if they need to make a bunch more of these with the Black Widow prequels. I think at this point maybe they close out that character or they move on with Yelena, let her do it. You can certainly do the Red Guardian more and bring him back. Go ahead.
That's really, I don't want to cut you off, but just the subject you brought up, making more, that's really up in the air right now because it really took a chin in the box office after a couple of days. Mm-hmm. And she's kind of highly upset about it with Disney, saying that they breached. Yeah.
Did you see that? That was today's news.
Absolutely. Breach of contract with them airing it and the timing being wrong. So I don't know, man. It didn't get the box office match. This whole COVID thing's got everything messed up. You're releasing it on, for $30 on Disney Plus, but then it's at the theaters. They got to fix this now, Yeah,
her salary, she said, was based on the box office, basically.
Oh,
and the fact that they released it at the same time, she's saying, hey, what the hell? If you'd only put it in the theater, it would have made more money in the theater. You would have owed me more money. You guys, it's a breach of contract. So this will be interesting to see. And watch this one because I guarantee because of this, there's going to be a lot more different type of contracts, I'm sure, with actors they're probably going to consider at the very least these blockbusters that they're going to stream and put in the theater. They're going to have to put something in their contract, some type of combination of both, or something like that.
But I can see another one being made because nobody wants to see that character die. Just like nobody wanted to see Tony Stark go.
Yeah.
They're going to have to resurrect him some kind of way. But we'll see.
Never know. Never know with the whole
I do got to do a follow-up, though, from last week.
Sure.
I did finish the Tomorrow War.
Yes. Okay.
Excellent.
What'd you think? Yeah.
Freaking excellent. The first half of it I thought was good, and that's about as far as I got. I didn't see it going the way it went, and I certainly didn't see that ending. Outstanding movie.
Yes. Yeah.
So, yeah.
It was like a Starship Trooper kind of feel, sort of, in a way.
So cool, man.
Yeah.
And you thought you knew what was about to happen at the end, and you were wrong. I thought his dad was about. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but it was really cool. Very cool movie. Yeah, man.
Well done.
Something smart and something totally different. Yeah. It's hard to come up with original ideas. You see things regurgitated different ways. This was an original idea, I thought.
I
Very
agree.
well done. Yep.
I agree. They could do more with that universe if they wanted to. Absolutely. Okay. And then I think the last thing I got here is there's a Y2K fashion trend leading a thrifting explosion. So bucket, and this is a female, I should say, fashion trend. Bucket hats, low-rise jeans, baby doll T-shirts, and friendship-looking bracelet or jewelry like you made with the old beads and stuff like that. And this harkens all the way back to the early 2000s fashion is making a comeback now. And it just struck me like, how strange is that to hear, first of all, where you're talking about a fashion trend from the 2000s, but yet that is 21 years ago. So it's like, wow. So it's hard for me, and I don't know about you guys, to equate any sort of fashion in particular to the 2000s up. I have no idea. I know the 70s, I know the 80s, I know the 90s.
Right.
Anything in the 2000s that's particular to that era as far as fashion and stuff like that, it's just completely not computing with me whatsoever. So I just
Totally
saw that
agree.
story. I'm like, holy crap. Now a throwback in fashion is to the 2000s. Very, very strange. So I don't know.
Really,
I know.
it's only 2021.
Well, I say fashion goes back 20 years in all the eras. So
Good point.
Oh, the 80s. Yeah, you've seen that's the 80s is very prevalent again.
Yeah.
Kids are pegging their jeans.
Yeah,
Kids are
the 70s too. I'm seeing like the bell bottoms and stuff around
yes.
here.
Mullets are coming
And
back for some
afros are
reason.
coming back. Yeah, lots of afros.
Yep. Just very, 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 very strange. I
yeah,
don't know.
Ohio
So
State's new quarterback. Have you seen that guy's hairdo? He's a
No.
straight 80s mullet.
Awesome.
Quinn Ewers is his name.
Hmm.
Yeah, freshman for Ohio State football. Yeah, check him out. Check out that wig on top of his head. It's something else.
fantastic.
I don't care if he's got a pompadour. Just win us a championship.
Fantastic. All right. That's what I got in the world of pop culture. Keith, what
Okay,
do you
good
got? What do you
stuff.
got in
Great stuff.
sports and music, sir?
Okay, man, lots to talk about here, so I'm gonna try to split this out. Unfortunately, in music, we do have some deaths to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
One of the ugliest people ever in music, but one of the most iconic songs ever. Biz Markie passed away a week ago.
Yep.
His song is used today in commercials, loved by whites, blacks, everybody. It's just one of the funniest songs ever. And of course, you got what I need.
Mm-hmm.
He can't sing a lick. And if you watch the video, I've never seen anybody that ugly put their face in the camera and sing so much. But he's just hilarious, And the song subject is just funny, But you say he's just a friend, I think we've all been there. So Biz Markie, rest in peace. He was one of the cool guys in rap, just loved over the decades. And of course, we hit the news yesterday. Legendary musician Dusty Hill from Hall of Fame band ZZ Top passed away due to complications of a hip surgery. This one kind of hit home because I was on the phone with my uncle Sam. For those of you who don't know, Sam Moore of legendary Sam and Dave is my uncle. He recorded songs with Dusty, and
wow.
he was pretty devastated when he got the news. So tonight we added, I was late for several reasons. We added ZZ Top to the set as a tribute to Dusty and ZZ Top, our upcoming show. And ZZ Top, man, when they started playing the song tonight, I looked at everybody like, what are you doing? Because I spent 4 years in the Canton music scene, which is totally different than our scene. This is more of a hard rock scene around here. Canton is more of a classic rock. And I spent 4 years playing the same songs over and over and over. And old ZZ Top was one of them. And I swore I'd never do it again. So it caught me off guard tonight. But because of the circumstances, I agreed to it. But this band is legendary. I think they had two careers. They had this classic rock career.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden in the late 80s, they kind of regurgitated themselves as this kind of pop metal band with songs like Legs and things like that. They kind of totally changed their sound to more of a digital guitar sound thing. Fans of ZZ Top, Fish?
Absolutely. I mean, I was lucky enough, a couple years ago, they did their 50th anniversary tour up in Cleveland, and I've never seen them before, and we went to see them. So Allie, myself, and Cunningham went up there, and Cheap Trick opened. They were also terrific, but great show. So happy I got to see them. They sounded great. I mean, obviously they were older men at the time. He was only 72 when he passed away, but so they weren't running around the stage or anything like that. But they weren't really known for that, anyways. But they just stood up there and jammed out. They sang every ZZ Top song you wanted to hear them sing. Fantastic. And yesterday I went back and just played the Eliminator album.
Yes.
As you mentioned, that was their resurgence in the 80s. And that was just a huge, huge thing, pop culture wise. MTV was massive videos. They had that slick red car and the girls and the ZZ Top
and one of
keychain
my
and all that
favorite songs
stuff.
to play of all time was Sharp Dressed Man. And they had the leg movement, and the long beards. They were totally cool, man.
Yeah, and that's a great album. I mean, you know the couple of songs off the radio, but there's a lot of songs on there that didn't get a lot of radio play that are actually very, very good. So, like you say, just a lot of fun, good stuff. It's just another band you could sit down and listen to. Just put you in a good mood, rock out and chill. So,
and I totally dug them because they weren't the typical, good looking, whatever. I mean, these guys with the long white beards, the big bellies, the sunglasses, and just doing the funky chicken the whole time. Loved them, man. Skinner.
And they also had a little thing on they made ongoing appearances on the Hank Hill show. King of the Hill.
King of the Hill. Yep, absolutely.
They were on that. I think they were on The Simpsons and all that. So there's not a lot of bands that made appearances in multiple animated type series, but ZZ Top was cool enough to do that. Sorry,
totally
Skinner,
cool.
What do you think? Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
They also made a lot of appearances on a television show called Bones. It was on Fox.
Okay.
I can't remember if it was Dusty or if it was one of the other ones that played one of the characters' dad. And he had a beard and a guitar. They always showed him. But it's funny you bring up the Eliminator album because that was my first concert. Was that tour?
Wow.
I was what would have been
83, 84 era, 84,
something like that. Yeah, 84. I think that was my first concert I'd ever been to. It was at Blossom, and it's one of those you never forget. That band was fantastic. Love the resurgence that they had. I love their old stuff. Their phase one, as Porter called it. But they really got their fame in phase two. And then once you learned that they had a phase one, you learn to appreciate where they came from.
And that's funny you say that, Skinner, because my first introduction to ZZ Top was, of course, when the MTV era exploded, and I saw Legs and Sharp Dressed Man. But I had heard songs like Tush and all that other stuff in the back of my mind. I never knew it was ZZ Top.
Right.
So I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah, they were fantastic. That's one of those bands. I've been to hundreds of shows, and that's one still to this day that I remember from such a long time ago. They just had that impression. They left that impression on me.
Okay. All right. Well, rest in peace, Dusty. All right. So also, guys, in sports, music. I'm sorry, we're still talking about music. Celebrity birthdays. Happy birthday, 1953, I believe. The great Geddy Lee of the band Rush. Big Rush fan. I learned about Rush when I was in, I want to say 7th or 8th grade at Ennis, running around with you idiots. A friend of mine had stole some posters from a store on 13th Street. Some of them were Journey, some of them were Rush. And we walked around selling them to all the white kids at Ennis. And, I just remember hearing the different comments. Man, I don't want no freaking Rush. You want Journey, all the girls said. And all the guys were like, give me the Rush. So I thought, let me check this band out. Of course, being a beginning drummer. And my mouth just fell open when I heard what I heard. Huge fans of Geddy and Neil Peart. I'm not the biggest fan of Alex Lifeson, but love the band in whole. I know we talked about Rush a little bit a long time ago. Thoughts on Rush real quick, Skinner?
Great band, great
or
music.
Geddy Lee, more importantly.
Yeah, Geddy Lee. As you were talking, I was actually looking at Joey Jordison, who passed away this last couple of days from Slipknot. I wanted to bring that up too, but
okay.
Yeah, he passed away.
I was wondering why I was seeing stuff on him. I didn't know that.
Yeah, 46 years old. He had I'm trying to remember what he had been dealing with some kind of disease, and it finally it took him. He died peacefully in his sleep. So, not a huge Slipknot fan. I do like some of their music, but yeah, he was a good drummer. I will give him his props there. But far as Rush, yeah, I loved Rush. I grew up as a Rush fan. Queensryche, Rush, all that
Mm-hmm.
group in the early '80s. My aunt, who's 5 years older than me, her and her a longtime boyfriend, they were together for many years. They introduced me to Rush and Queensryche and that genre. Joe Satriani was another one during that time. Yeah, I'm a big fan. I
Getty
love
has
all
such
their
a
music.
unique voice, man, and he played
Oh
the
yeah,
bass and the torch pedals at the same time. I thought
right.
he was just an incredible talent. Fish.
Never could get quite into the music, but I could not ever dispute the fact that they were super talented at what they did
Mm-hmm.
without question. And I'm also going to shout one of my oldest friends, another brother of mine, Tim Lester, out there. He's one of the hugest Rush's fans I ever met, to a point where one of his sons he named Sawyer after Tom Sawyer
Okay.
Okay,
of
cool.
the Rush song. He tried to name his other son Getty, or I'm sorry, Getty was another option, but at the time the wife said
That
absolutely
has to
not.
be
So
like the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. Next thing you know, guys
yeah,
will be naming their kids after football teams.
it's ridiculous,
Yeah,
crazy.
right.
Yeah.
What a bunch
And
of
by the way,
morons.
if you're a Rush fan or not so much of a Rush fan, go watch the movie I Love You, Man. You know that comedy with Paul Rudd and Jason Segel. You know
Okay.
what I'm talking about? So in the movie, Jason Segel is a Rush fan, and he's such an avid fan, and he's one of those guys that's just trying to get you to understand how great a band Rush is. And it's like, you know how those super fans are. They have to try to convince you that Rush is the greatest band in the whole world. Very, very funny movie. Go back and check
That
that out.
sounds
When it
cool.
ties to Rush there nicely. Yeah. Go
Of course,
ahead.
they did it. Go
By the
ahead.
way, Steel Porter, we love you, man.
Thanks, Skinner, because I know people are like wondering, hey, man, I was kind of cold to Keith. If you don't know, my son's name's Steele, after my beloved Pittsburgh Steelers. So I was really kind of cracking on myself there, not Fisher's friend. So anyway, also, guys, in this day in music, 1978, number one, what do you think it was? Tell them, Fish.
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit too. The Grease soundtrack. John Travolta, Olivia Newton-John, just iconic soundtrack. Even to this day,
Mm-hmm.
you know, if you're anywhere near our age, a little older, you know some of those songs.
If you
without
don't,
question.
you're in a coma.
Yes.
I remember my dad having what was known back then as Star Channel.
Yes.
If you guys remember that.
Oh, yeah.
And I saw Grease for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes these guys that write these show tunes or whatnot, sometimes they just really nail it. And whoever wrote the songs for this movie just nailed it. Just iconic songs you can't shake. Olivia and John Travolta, you couldn't have cast any more perfect people. My only fallback with the movie Grease, especially as I get older, is there's no black people in it. And but other than that, it's just one of the greatest, most fun movies of all time. Skinner.
You talk about it, the Gen Xers knowing what the movie is. My daughter Chelsea's a big, huge Grease fan.
Mhm.
You know, and she likes all of them. She didn't just like the first one. She had I remember buying her the box set on VHS.
Okay.
Yes, kids, VHS recordings.
VHS. What's that?
Look it up. But she was a huge fan and still is to this day. But no, Grease, growing up, my mom, my sister, I had no choice but to watch the movie and appreciate.
Tell me more.
Right, and you learn to appreciate greatness, and I think that movie, that soundtrack, I think it deserves the title greatness.
Not just the soundtrack, the dancing, some of the jokes. Get it hickey from Kanicki. It's like a Hallmark card, stuff like that still to this day. And I would bet Grease is probably, or some of the songs from there, especially the couple of duets, top 10 karaoke songs of all time, that
Sure.
Endless Love and a few others. So, happy birthday to Grease. So, okay, guys, getting out of music, let's wander into sports a little bit. A lot of things going on there, a lot of controversial things going on. Of course, it's Olympic week. Just been controversial for the start due to COVID scares. A lot of athletes not staying in the Olympic Village, which was really part of the big thing for athletes going to the Olympics. Just their own little enclosed city catered to them. I feel sorry for those who didn't get to experience that out of fear of COVID, and I can't blame them. And then, of course, no audience has been hard on the Olympians. But the big news coming out, probably the biggest star in the Olympics this year, Simone Biles, I believe 26 gold medals or something ridiculous. Unbelievable athlete. She is something like we haven't seen it. I don't know when. The Michael Phelps of gymnastics pulled out of the group competition and the individual competition, citing, I guess you would say, mental reasons. You've got people defending her, getting upset if you say something about her, and you got those who are nailing her to the wall about quitting on her team. Man, you talk about a hotbed subject. Fish, what do you think?
I understand how people maybe could feel that way as far as quitting on the team, maybe initially, but at the end of the day, it's her mental well-being, it's her body. I mean, I doubt. I mean, it's not like this is some unknown athlete, like you say. She's an Olympic champion, so clearly she has the talent, and she definitely could, helped win a lot of gold medals for the U.S. prior.
Right.
I don't know. It's hard to get inside someone's. The mind's a very powerful thing. So, but if she didn't feel right, she felt that maybe she would be hurting the team, maybe hurting herself if she was not in it, because obviously that's a sport you can get hurt very, very badly.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah. So, you got to support her at the end of the day.
This is where I am. I don't know what's going on in her head. And I look at where this kid has come from. Sexually abused, the whole 9 yards to get to where she is. And all of a sudden to be maybe the most famous athlete, right now. She's dealing with a lot. I do believe what the Bible says, every generation gets weaker and wiser. Maybe kids back in the day, I look back in our day, you look at a Nadia Comaneci. That girl was getting raped and all kind of stuff over in her country. But at the same time, she still competed and won gold. But these kids today are a little mentally weaker. So I'm not faulting Simone Biles for this by any means. I'm just saying. But also another thing, too. When my son, his second year at Mount Union, came to me and said, Dad, I want to quit football. My question was, okay, why? And he says, I don't have the passion for it anymore. I said, that's all I need to hear, because I don't want you out there if you're not passionate about it. That's how you get hurt.
Sure.
I don't need you out there feeling timid and things like that. I need you out there hunting heads. And if you're not out there taking heads, you're going to get yours knocked off. So if she wasn't in it, I wouldn't want her out there competing to hurt herself, to hurt her reputation, and things like that. Okay, Skinner?
Well, I've heard the term hero to zero thrown around. I've heard the quitter thrown around. I've heard all this, that, and another. And when you first heard it, that's probably, oh boy, she's either really hurt or she's really having some issues upstairs. Or
26 medals is hard to call somebody a quitter.
Well, yes, it is. It is. And like I said, I've heard all those terms. I've seen it. Kudos to her that she's willing and able and has the mindset to protect herself and her health and put that first over the gold medals or her team. So I really don't have a say so too much. If this is what she needed to make herself healthy mentally, physically, and secure a long life of happiness, then that's what she needed to do.
And I'm sure she's protecting herself because she's not telling everything. And I don't blame her. She doesn't owe everybody an explanation.
It's none of our business.
Exactly. Her team was supporting her. They're out there with her, high-fiving. So leave the girl alone, man. You don't know what somebody's going through unless you walk a mile in their shoes. And she did what she had to do. I'm sure this girl is a competitor. If she could have competed, she would have.
Yeah, we talked about Keith, a couple episodes ago, you brought up memorable Olympic moments, and one of the ones we talked about was Carrie Strug and how she was hurt,
Mm.
and then you look at it from that way, but then now with this happening, you look at that maybe a little bit differently and think, geez, Carrie Strug, she could have really hurt herself very, very. I mean, she was hurt. I mean, that could have went really, really badly.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point.
And she was pushed by the coach to get back out there and do that, and she wanted to compete, but she was definitely not encouraged not to jump by her coach at all. Right.
Well, that's an excellent point. I just want to say this. The caveat is that was a physical condition. Simone Biles is mental.
True.
And you could be hurt, but determined in your mind. Mm-hmm. And you could be in great shape, but not have your mind together and get messed up.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I'd rather have a physical ailment, but be determined in my mind.
Yeah.
Because the mind can overcome the body, but not vice versa.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, yeah.
How are we looking on time, Fish?
We got about another 5 minutes or so.
Okay, real quick. In the world of football, football season is slowly creeping upon us. We are a week away from the Hall of Fame game with my beloved Steelers versus Fisher's beloved Cowboys. Mm-hmm. I was really excited about going with a certain young lady I've been with forever. We're no longer together, and I just got blessed last night with another young lady who has an extra ticket to that and the enshrinement. So I'm excited about going and being amongst the Steeler Nation. It has been a few years. Shut up, jerks. So with the football news, Dak Prescott, this whole big contract thing, Jerry Jones made a statement a while back saying it's hard to win a championship when you play your football. Play your quarterback that kind of money. Of course, hypocritical Jerry to say that, but is this really true? I look at situations like a guy like Aaron Rodgers, who wasn't looking for money. He had turned down the biggest contract in NFL history a week ago, but he was looking for more respect. And he's about to sign back with the Packers. But you guys think this is true, that if you sign your quarterback particularly, because they usually are the highest paid, that much money, you will not win a championship?
Skinner? Have you heard the football player named Tom Brady?
Well, now I was going to use that as a caveat, because a lot of people want to say, Brady's not the GOAT. They compare his stats to Cam Newton or this person and that person. And I think Brady's the GOAT for a lot more reasons than just stats. I think he's the GOAT because Brady's never been the highest paid quarterback.
Right.
So he's never, ever been that guy looking for that max contract. He's taking pay cuts to put, guys on the team. And I think that's why he's been on great championship teams. So I'm not sure why you brought his name up, but I think he's the reason.
He's top 5, top 7 quarterbacks paid year after year after year. If he's not making it in regular salary, he's making it up somewhere else. But, you brought up Garoppolo from San Francisco.
Because I was saying that was the outlier. They put together a championship team. They made Garoppolo the highest paid player a few years ago.
They didn't win.
Well, they went to the Super Bowl.
They didn't win.
They didn't win it, but they went to the Super Bowl. They had a hell of a year. I just don't. I know why.
But look at the guys they had hurt, though.
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
true.
But they put the team together. There was a championship winning team, and I think there wouldn't have been a possible different outcome had all those guys been playing.
Fair enough.
Go ahead, Skinner.
So and it's coming from Jerry Jones. That man, I tell you what, I know Fish. You're those that don't know, he's a big, huge, diehard Dallas fan. I just feel sorry for you that your favorite team is Jerry Jones as the owner.
Fish, what do you think? Go ahead.
I mean, there's something. I mean, he didn't have to say it. I mean, it's like, listen, everybody freaking knows his contract dispute. Everybody knows it. You don't need to say it. If they lose and they can't keep people around him, you don't have to say it. You could tell he can't resist putting it out there so he could try to divert some of the attention away from, and just say, hey, we signed him. We can't win. He's just trying to set it up in case they don't win. But there is something to the fact of there's only so much money to go around on the team. There's a cap. There's so much you can do.
That's
so
right.
I hope they didn't shoot themselves in the foot by paying any player
and
who has not got to the championship game even. So I guess it remains to be seen. At this rate, I don't have high hopes for Dallas. I mean, it's just I'm a fan, but it's
we can praise
whatever.
what a Tom Brady does, but at the same time, and I'm not defending Dak. I'm just trying to balance things. People will say players like that are greedy and this and that, whatever. But players think like this. Owners don't guarantee their contracts; they don't hold to that. So why should I take anything less when I could be hurt tomorrow? And certainly Dak is a person who's just coming off injury, realize that his career could be over like that in a flex. So these guys if they can get that extra dollar, they take it. So I understand that point of view too. And it's all about what's most important to you. Getting that maximum amount of money, to live on the rest of your life, or a winning football team. I personally think it should be a winning football team. Yep. Zach knows you're going to be rich. Dak, I'm sorry, you're going to be rich the rest of your life. Your career's over tomorrow. The TV networks will be busting down the door trying to sign you. So I don't know what you're worried about. But me personally, I think I should be trying to win a little bit more.
I agree.
Also, guys, real quick, Aaron Rodgers did report back to the Green Bay Packers. This saga's been going on for a long time. It was basically all about, it's just old. I was watching First Take yesterday, and they kept asking the question, who won, the Packers or Aaron Rodgers? Who came out on top in this? I'm not going to ask you guys that question. I'm going to say this. The question ticks me off because they're assuming that those were the only two choices. Neither one of those guys won, or both of them won, okay? The Packers got their guy back, one of the best to ever play the game. Aaron, I'm sure, didn't want to go anywhere else. He's got a little bit more respect, which is what he wanted. But the winners are the Packer fans. That's all they care about. Give us our quarterback and let's play football. Like you just said, yawn. They're tired of all this. We're sick of it. We're not even Packers fans. So I think that's the winner in all of this. So right now, I said I had Tampa Bay in Cleveland in the Super Bowl. I'm going to change that because I said it's subject to change throughout the summer. I'm changing that right now to the Packers and the Cleveland Browns in the Super Bowl.
Wow.
My three caveats are this. The Kansas City Chiefs, they fixed their offensive line. I think they're going to be dangerous again. They've added some people. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers bringing back all 22 starters. But I'm going to say this. The Buccaneers got lucky down the stretch because they played some hurt teams. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, if the Steelers' offensive line is even halfway decent, watch out, people. You're in trouble. We just added some key defensive people. We just signed Melvin Ingram last week. That defense is going to be stout, baby. You hear what I'm saying?
Fish, he just can't help himself.
Nope.
Listen, am I lying? That defense is going to be untouchable. We got a running game now. We've got one of the best receiving corps in football. We just need to be able to block. If we can block, you're in trouble. Oh my gosh! No respect.
You got to get that Nurse Carla to get that rectal out of there or something. You're getting too excited.
Right.
Okay.
You get too excited about the Steelers.
Okay, guys, that's it for our show today because I am about to throw something at the screen and hit these two bums.
You guys are not. Listen, the Dallas Cowboys finally. Okay, I'm just kidding. I'm not even.
I was going to say Dallas Cowboys finally get out of last place.
9-7. There you go. Prediction.
And that'll win the East probably
and win the division.
Yes.
Wild card. Could be. That's very possible.
9-7. They'll run away with the NFC East.
They might. They might.
All right, folks. Well, for Keith Porter, Brian Fisher, I'm Michael Skinner. Thanks for listening to us for another week of It Came From Gen X. And until next week, we bid you farewell. Have a great week.
Go Guardians.
Go Steelers.
And cut.